The last lesson initiated us to the new kingdoms that were established by people who did not belong to royal families. Among the dynasties we mentioned, the first upon our list were the Gurjara Pratiharas. The Gurjara Pratiharas ruled from 700 to 975, and this dynasty was founded by Harichandra. He founded this dynasty in Rajasthan. Next upon our list were the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas ruled the Deccan region from 735 to 982, and the founder of this dynasty was Dantidurga. And last but not the least, a very powerful empire in the northern and eastern part of the Indian subcontinent was that of the Palas. The Palas, or the Pala Empire, ruled from 750 to 1162, and this dynasty ruled Bengal and Bihar, and the founder of this dynasty was Gopala. But it was the successor of Gopala, or the son of Gopala, that Dharmapala was the most important ruler of the Pala Empire. So these three dynasties were focused on in our previous lesson. But while ending the previous lesson, we raised the question as to why these three kingdoms are of any importance to us. It is this reason, that is why these dynasties are important to us, that we will try to locate in this discussion. We have learnt about the three dynasties that were ruling the Indian subcontinent around this time. Now conflict and struggle arose among these three dynasties, and this struggle took the name of Tripartite struggle. This is because there were three dynasties, and the word tri means three. But why were these three dynasties, as in the Gurjara Pratiharas, the Rashtrakutas and the Palas, fighting amongst themselves? This is because they wanted to gain control over Kannauj. Now Kannauj is a place that is located in the present day Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. But why were they fighting to gain control over Kannauj? There are so many places in the Indian subcontinent, but why just this one place? This is because Kannauj is located in the Ganga Yamuna Doab region. It's a very fertile region, and this region is also very rich in alluvial soil. So it explains that this region is also very productive for agricultural pursuits. Now this is the most important reason why these three dynasties, as in the Palas, the Gurjara Pratiharas and the Rashtrakutas, were fighting to gain control over Kannauj. Now let us find out in greater detail what happened in this tripartite struggle. The Pratihara king Vatsaraja and the Pala king Dharmapala were fighting. But why were they fighting? They were fighting to gain control of Kannauj. And what was the outcome of this battle? In this battle, Vatsaraja emerged victorious because he defeated Dharmapala. But in turn, Vatsaraja was also defeated by King Dhruva I, who belonged to the Rashtrakutas. And following this victory, King Dhruva I now moved back to his region in the south. What happened after this? Now Dharmapala seized this opportunity and went on to controlling Kannauj. But his victory was also short-lived. It is said that this tripartite struggle lasted for 2 long centuries, and while this was happening, all these three dynasties, as you can see here, were shrinking in size, and this paved the way for Muslim invasions in India. Now before proceeding with this lesson and learning more about the tripartite struggle, let me ask you a question. The tripartite struggle was fought to gain control over which region? Was it fought to gain control over Kannauj, Ajmer, Delhi or Madurai? Well, the correct answer is Kannauj. The Rashtrakutas, the Gurjara Pratiharas and the Palas were fighting amongst themselves in this tripartite struggle in order to gain control over the fertile region of Kannauj. So we learned that the tripartite struggle started when Dharmapala was the ruler of the Pala dynasty. King Vatsaraja was the ruler of the Gurjara Pratiharas and King Dhruva I was the ruler of the Rashtrakutas. It was during their rule that the tripartite struggle started, and it went on for 2 long centuries. Now, because of this tripartite struggle, the 3 dynasties did not realize that, unwillingly so, they were leading to the weakening of their own dynasties. Because the rulers of these dynasties were looking forward to capturing just one region, and in this process they were leading to the disintegration of their own dynasties. Now, the disintegration of these 3 dynasties also made the ground fertile for something. That something would be Muslim invasions. When these 3 dynasties were fighting to gain control of Kannauj and they were embroiled in the tripartite struggle, Muslim invasions started coming in from the Middle East. So unwillingly so, these dynasties now paved the way for Muslim invaders to attack the Indian subcontinent. This was one of the biggest consequences of the tripartite struggle. Now let us find out in detail what happened as to which Muslim invader invaded India from the Middle East. While these dynasties were fighting to gain control of just one area, it was Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni who now invaded India. Ghazni is a place located in Afghanistan, and Sultan Mahmud belonged to Ghazni. He ruled from 997 to 1030. Now Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni saw that the ground was fertile to invade the Indian subcontinent, which is why he invaded India. Here on the map you can see Ghazni, which is located in Afghanistan. Sultan Mahmud belonged to Ghazni. He then went on to controlling Iran and various parts of the Central Asia. And after bringing these areas under his control, he then went on to conquering the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. So, Mahmud of Ghazni came from Ghazni to invade the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. The territory that is marked in brown in this map shows you the extent of the Ghaznavid Empire. Now let us find out how Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India and what were the consequences of his invasion of India. When Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni came to India for the first time, he then started repeatedly invading India almost every other year. That is to say, he led raiding expedition to India almost every year. This is because he was attracted to the enormous amount of wealth that India housed at that time. So, being attracted to the enormous wealth, he now started invading India multiple times. Now, his invasions also had a religious dimension to it. This is because when he came to invade India, he made sure and he left no stones unturned in attacking and destroying all the Hindu temples. And he repeatedly destroyed many Hindu temples, which is why he earned the title idol breaker. Now this practice was prevalent during those times because whenever any invader or any ruler invaded any area, they made sure to swipe away the religion that was existent there and place in its place their own religion. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni also did the same thing. He attacked and destroyed many Hindu temples while in the process establishing his own religion. That is to say, he wanted to establish the supremacy of Islam, which is why he destroyed the Hindu temples. And one such Hindu temple that he destroyed was the famous Somnath temple of Gujarat. This is an image of the Somnath temple of Gujarat that had been plundered and destroyed by Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. Now let us find out how this Somnath temple was destroyed and attacked by Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. In the year 1025, Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni attacked and vandalized the Somnath temple, and while doing so, he also broke into many pieces the Shiva idol. He also killed nearly 50,000 residents of the town. As you can see here, so many people lost their lives. Along with this, he also took away nearly 2 million gold coins as booty and many other metals which he carried back to Afghanistan. By now we have understood that how the disintegration of those three empires that happened due to the tripartite struggle made it easier for Muslim invaders from the Middle East to come and attack India. And one such invader was Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. We also learned that Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni, the idol breaker as he was, had attacked and vandalized many Hindu temples, and one such Hindu temple was the Somnath temple. And while plundering the Somnath temple, he also took away a huge amount of resources and many precious metals which he carried back to Ghazni. And in this way, he also established a splendid city of Ghazni. Now this we have understood. But when Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni came to invade and conquer India, he also wanted to know more about the people who lived in the subcontinent. Now, in which way did he get to know about the people of the Indian subcontinent? For this purpose, he entrusted a scholar by the name of Al-Biruni. He asked Al-Biruni to write an account on India. In this account, Al-Biruni would write about the people of India so that Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni gets to know them. Now, for this purpose, Al-Biruni composed an Arabic work which is known as Kitabul Hind. Kitabul Hind was composed in consultation with other Sanskrit scholars of the time. So it was Al-Biruni who composed this Arabic work known as Kitabul Hind, which is an account on India and the people who lived in India. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni had come from Afghanistan to invade India, and during his invasions he was able to take away a lot of wealth and resources and precious metals and stones from the Indian subcontinent back to Afghanistan. Following his lead, another invader by the name of Muhammad Ghori also came from Afghanistan to invade India. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni belonged to the place called Ghazni in Afghanistan, and Muhammad Ghori belonged to a place called Ghor in Afghanistan. So it is from Afghanistan that Muhammad Ghori came to invade India a few centuries henceforth. Now when Muhammad Ghori came to invade India, he had to wage war against the Chahamanas. The Chahamanas later came to be known as the Chauhans. When Muhammad Ghori came to invade India, the Chauhans or the Chahamanas were ruling in the region around Delhi and Ajmer. So in this region around Delhi and Ajmer, the Chahamanas were ruling when Muhammad Ghori came from Ghori in Afghanistan to invade India. Let us find out more about this, that is more about the invasion of Muhammad Ghori on India and the outcome of this. But before discussing more about Muhammad Ghori's invasion of India, I suppose when you heard the name Chauhans, the name of a famous Chauhan king came to your mind. Yes, it has to be that of Prithviraj III, who is also popularly known as Prithviraj Chauhan. So it was during the rule of Prithviraj Chauhan that Muhammad Ghori came to invade India. Now let us find out what happened when he came to invade India. In the year 1191, Muhammad Ghori came from Afghanistan to invade India with the hope of conquering the subcontinent. But he was defeated by Prithviraj III or Prithviraj Chauhan, who managed to injure Muhammad Ghori and send him back to Afghanistan. But do you think Muhammad Ghori left it at this? No. Because the following year, that is in 1192, he again came to India to invade India, and now took place the second battle of Tarain, where Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated and Muhammad Ghori now emerged victorious. Now you must be wondering why we started discussing about Muhammad Ghori in this lesson. This is because we have to understand that this foreign invasion from the Middle East was a direct result or a direct consequence of the tripartite struggle that happened among the Gurjara Pratiharas, the Palas and the Rashtrakutas. Since they were fighting amongst themselves and weakening their dynasties, their rule in the long run, Muslim invaders or foreign invaders from the Middle East could invade the Indian subcontinent. The first invader who led an expedition to India was Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni, and following him came Muhammad Ghori. Now in this lesson we discussed the tripartite struggle that happened amongst those three dynasties and what was the very obvious outcome or consequence of it. Now with this we have understood how the new kings established their new kingdoms. We have understood how these new kingdoms were established and how these kingdoms also got into conflict with each other. In a subsequent lesson we will begin discussing the administration in these kingdoms, that is to say how administration was done in these kingdoms, what kind of policies were implemented to ensure that administration was always perfect in these kingdoms. So with this we bring this discussion to a close. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.